Title: 3 Hidden Stories Inside Your 2025 P&L That Should Shape 2026. If you're like most founders I talk to, you've already looked at your 2025 P&L. You probably asked the obvious questions. Did we make money? Were we up or down? Is this better than last year? But here's the thing, your P&L is telling you far more than whether you had a good year or a bad one. It's quietly telling 3 stories about how your business is actually running, and whether 2026 is going to feel calmer or more chaotic. Most leaders miss these stories because they're not obvious, they're not labeled, and they don't jump out unless you know where to look. Hi, I'm Pam Meissner, CFO at Cathcap. So today, I want to walk you through 3 hidden stories inside your 2025 P&L and why each one should directly shape how you plan for 2026. Let's start with the first one. Story number 1, your growth story and whether it's real. On the surface, growth looks simple. Revenue went up, or it didn't. But your P&L knows the truth about how that growth happened. If revenue increased, the real question isn't, did we grow? It's, what did it cost us to grow? When we look at P&Ls with founders, one of the first things we notice is this. Revenue is up, but margins are flat or worse, shrinking. That's not growth, that's strain. It often shows up like this. You hired faster than planned. You added capacity just in case. You approved expenses because things felt busy. And suddenly the business is doing more, but it doesn't feel easier. It feels heavier. Your P&L will tell you if 2025 growth was operationally healthy or operationally expensive. Healthy growth leaves room to breathe. Expensive growth creates pressure, even in profitable businesses. And here's why this matters for 2026. If you don't understand what actually drove your growth, you'll build next year's plan on assumptions that aren't true. You'll say, let's just do more of this, when the smarter question is, which part of this actually worked? Your 2025 P&L isn't asking you to grow faster next year. It's asking you to grow cleaner. Story 2, your decision-making story, gut versus clarity. The second story is quieter, but usually the most uncomfortable. It's the story of how decisions actually got made in 2025, not how you intended to make them, how they really happened. When we review P&Ls, we can often tell whether leadership was proactive or constantly reacting. Here's how it shows up. If expenses spike without a clear tie to revenue, if margins swing month to month, if cash feels unpredictable, that usually means decisions were made under pressure. Fire drills over cash, quick hires to solve immediate pain. Marketing spend approved because we needed leads now. None of these are bad decisions in isolation. They're human decisions. But taken together, your P&L records the pattern, and patterns matter. Because when you run a business off gut and urgency for too long, your financials start running you. You're not steering anymore, you're responding. Your 2025 P&L shows whether you had visibility before decisions or clarity only after the fact. That distinction is everything. If you want this year to feel steadier, less reactive, less exhausting, the lesson isn't be more disciplined. It's create better visibility before decisions are required. Your P&L isn't criticizing you. It's showing you where you were flying blind. The third story your P&L tells is the one most founders don't expect. It's not about growth or margins, it's about resilience. Specifically, what happens to this business when you step back? In 2025, did your P&L improve only when you were deeply involved? Did performance dip when you took time off or when your attention shifted? We see this all the time. The numbers look strong, but only because the owner is holding everything together. That's just reality for many companies. Your P&L will show signs of this. Inconsistent results tied to your presence, bottlenecks that require your approval, performance that depends on heroic effort. That's not a systems problem, it's a resilience problem. And resilience determines whether 2026 feels sustainable or like another year you have to survive. A resilient business performs consistently even when you're not in the room. The P&L measures how fragile or durable your operation really is. So what does this mean for 2026? Here's the shift I want to leave you with. Your 2025 P&L is not a report card. It's not a score. It's feedback. It's telling you how real your growth actually was, how decisions truly got made, how dependent the business still is on you. If you ignore those stories, 2026 will repeat them just louder. But if you listen, you can design a year that feels different. A year with fewer surprises, more confidence in decisions, more space to think instead of react. So before you finalize your 2026 plan, sit with your P&L one more time, not to judge it, but to ask it better questions. Because the numbers already know what kind of year you're heading into. The only question is, are you ready to listen? Thanks for watching.